Podcast with Austin Slowbird Swink and Terminator Xavier Cox.
So we as a team had Phoenix MMA go against Nashville MMA and One Nation Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes, sir.
And we, not me, but as a team, did phenomenal. Put BTA, as you would say.
Yeah, that's it was super cool. We had 5 weight classes. It was 155 pounds, 170, 100, what was it, 85?
205 and then heavyweight.
Yeah, 205 and heavyweight.
We had you, Fernando, Ryan Long, Brandon, and Nathan.
Yeah.
And everybody did really good. We had 10 matches total, 5 against each team. Only lost 2 against One Nation.
And then we only won like 2 by decision too. Every other one was a submission.
Right. Yeah. Our sub rate. I wish I would have kept track of that to see what our sub rate is, but I know we won at 80%, which is awesome against 2 teams.
2 big teams.
2 big teams, especially in kind of close to the area that we train at as well. Clean swept Nashville MMA 5-0 against them, and then went 3-2 against One Nation, winning by basically getting 3 chokes. Once you get 3 chokes under that rule set with just 5 people, that's an automatic dub.
Well, I guess not necessarily. So it's like whoever has the most points in total. So you can get swept. Yeah, you can get swept by like straight decisions.
So if One Nation would have swept Nashville MMA, it could have been a lot closer.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot
of sense.
So
I thought that was pretty interesting too.
We still whooped them by 30
points.
points. I think Phoenix had 48 points, and the next team behind us had 18.
18, and then National MMA
9.
yeah. So it was a good turnout for Phoenix.
Oh yeah, we did great. We went out there and rolled like we roll in the gym. We go hard, go for the finish, and yeah, like I was saying, it was super awesome to just go and watch. And then One Nation, that was a super cool event, being able to have like an open mat afterwards with everybody that competed against each other, can learn from each other that day.
Yeah, that was super cool.
And how did exactly you get your 2 submissions? One in overtime and then one was in regulation?
So the first one, they were, I forget the in-match rule set or whatever, but it was basically if you get past, there were 6-minute matches. If you get past the 6 minutes, you go into EBI overtime rules. So the first match, we just had a lot of, mainly neutral. I got on. He ended up pulling guard. I went double unders. We just kept.
Surprised you didn't hear me boo when he pulled guard. I was like boo.
Yeah, that was funny.
But then go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying. Just running down the match. I got. I'm not sure if I passed the guard or anything like that. I was pretty close. Yada yada yada. We went to overtime. Once we got to overtime, I started on his back. Got him extended, locked up my body triangle, and then just was fishing for the choke the whole time. He got on my back. He had to cross my leg, or what? How do you explain? Cross leg locks with his body triangle. Or he didn't have a body triangle. He had a leg triangle around my leg, and then
kind of what we were going over. Who was doing that in a UFC fight? And I was like, that looks super slick. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't know his name or what they called it.
But was it that position?
It's almost like how you have someone in a twister.
Okay.
So yeah, if he had like my arm was like behind his head, and he had like my head, that's where it would have been. But instead of his arm, well, I guess his arm was around my head. He just had a rear naked choke, so it's just kind of hard to breathe. But I escaped that shortly after, and then my second match, a lot of neutral, but this one, I'm pretty sure he pulled guard too. I wanted to work my side by to the back take
We're not giving that to you.
Yeah, I got a little secret sauce I'm working on from there, but
okay.
Hopefully ADCC Atlanta.
Ooh.
This next opportunity I might be able to hit it. So.
And I'm gonna probably go against midget.
Yeah, do what you gotta do. But yeah, in that one, I had a high elbow guillotine. My knee was across the stomach, threw my leg over the back. He had a 2-on-1 on my arm, So what I did was shout out to Gene Silva, whatever, however you say it. I went to that ninja choke. So I slid it as high up as I can, slid my arm over top, and then I locked my top leg around like it was an anaconda choke.
Okay.
And that's how I finished that.
Heck yeah. I thought you got a guillotine, but it was hard to see from the angle.
It was like front naked choke, ninja choke,
yeah.
Whatever.
Heck yeah. Team did really good. They had 3 people get their blue belts, Damian, Fernando, and Ryan Long. And it's super cool to just see all 3 of them since they've walked in the door progress to the level they're at
they're
at now.
Good too.
Yeah, and they're only going to get better too, which is even more scary. But I guess we can get into UFC if you want to. You want to get into the past card? With the first fight on the main card from last weekend was Ikram Aliskerov versus Andre Muniz. What'd you think about that fight?
So I stopped watching. I didn't really have my solid picks, and I didn't get to sit down and fully study the fights. But basically, what I picked up from this fight was Ikram. I really his combos, the way he controls the ring, is his aggression. I feel like that's the thing that literally wins so many fights, and it doesn't get talked about enough. Is that aggression that people
cage
have.
control and pressure.
Well, because the aggression comes with the cage control, so it's whoever you don't even have to call it aggression. Just walking forward in general.
Owning the center.
Yeah, own it. Oh, I guess it depends on what you do with the center, because you could be freaking Carlos Prates, freaking walking. He'll walk him forward and not do anything, not know how to stay in front of your guy and cut the right angles to keep them on the cage.
Yeah, I thought he looked really good getting him up against the cage and landing that KO shot to put him down.
Sick.
It looked like it was hard to tell if Andre got hurt or he slipped, but then once you saw that he wasn't trying to get up, you knew he was hurt.
Yeah, it was.
Ref did a good job stopping that fight.
That one was super clean.
Yep.
Honestly, that's my destroyer of the week.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that one. So that's your destroyer?
Yeah, I didn't know. I was mixed up, and he honestly wasn't my first choice. I went through, I watched a couple of the fights back again, and I like pretty much how he controlled the ring. I know it wasn't a crazy long fight. Came out there aggressive, cut the angles he needed to take, and put him away.
Yep. And before we get to the next fight, I guess I'll throw in my burner of the week. There was this Brazilian chick named, I don't know her first name, but I know her last name was Amarine, and she went against Poliana Viana.
Mm-hmm.
And going into that fight, I watched MMA Guru's breakdown on all the fights. He'll go through the first fight on the prelims all the way to the main event.
That's what we do.
And when he got to that fight, he talked about how Amarine's opponent, Poliana Viana, had recently, over the past year, gotten a boob job, and you can't be too serious about MMA if you're getting your boobs done. So I think Poliana Viana is probably in the business of, I just want to try and look good for MMA, because if you're a hardcore MMA fan, you know that it does not take much to make a female star nowadays. Literally, a lot of the girls are just going out there. If they get a win, they'll shake their butt on camera, and then the casuals go crazy over that.
Unfortunately, that's the state of the world right now.
Yeah, so
it's sad.
That was why when going into that fight, I thought Amarine was going to win, but she just looks so good when it comes to her jiu-jitsu and being able to get the takedown and stay on top. She wasn't just going against anybody, too. I know I just made a comment about how this girl acts, but she has a lot of subs off of her back, and that's where she was the whole time, but wasn't able to get anything going, because Amarine was really good at staying past the legs and keeping pressure. I think she was putting her going from crucifix to side control to north-south, just staying around the top of her rather than getting caught up in the legs.
Yeah.
And I think she really could be a big star in the 115 division without fake boobs and shaking ass.
Fair.
That's my burger of the week. Our first female one. And then getting into the next fight on the main card is Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby, which was a great fight.
That was actually an awesome fight. He was I kind of doubted him going into this. I was normally I see Randy, I'm I'll pick him as the guy I think he's gonna win or whatever. Kind of underestimated him going into this fight or whatever, but he looked really good. I don't like how, I don't know if I should call it unorthodox or like how sloppy his striking is.
Which
just,
one?
Randy, yeah. It's not as clean as I'd like it to be, but he was doing what he needed to do. He was landing the punches he needed to land, got clipped a couple times. That bothered me.
Did you see when he hit him with like that right hook and broke his nose?
Dude.
He had his nose like all the way on like an inch or two to the left.
Yeah, it was...
And then in between rounds, the cut man reset it, or the coach.
Yeah.
And then he came back out and it was fixed. I'm sure that messed with Randy Brown. I was like, wasn't like 2 minutes ago your nose was an inch to the left?
Yeah, it's crazy how tough they are.
Yeah, and that guy, Nicholas Dalby, was that was his 30th fight, and going into it had never been finished. And I know on the pod that when we were talking about who we were going to pick for this fight, the reason I picked Randy Brown is because Nicholas Dalby is 40. And if he was a little bit younger, I would have picked him in this fight just based on being a 35 veteran and never being finished. Like, it takes a special type of person for that to be your stats.
If you're picking fights, age matters. Always consider.
Yeah, it does. It does, and it's one of those things where this guy probably shouldn't be fighting anymore, but he still wants to.
Yeah.
And
just sticking around to stick around.
And honestly, I'm sure he's probably going to want one more. But when you go 30 fights and you're 40 and you've never been finishing, and the first time you get knocked out is he got knocked out clean, face planted.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, God, that was...
So, I mean, at that point, I feel like you probably need to hang up the gloves. But I'm not him. I'm not his family. I don't know his situation. So he's probably going to do another one, make some money before he
as long as that paycheck's good. I mean, I know a lot of people will.
So, yeah, Randy Brown looked really good, knocking out Dalby for the first person to ever finish him. And the next fight was Michel Pierre versus Abus Magomedov. This fight was kind of...
What?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I expected more out of Michel.
That's pretty much what I was like.
But at the same time, I think I rank Abus's skills a little bit lower ever since he lost to Sean Strickland, and the way that Sean just kind of walked through him. Mm-hmm. I was thinking that maybe this guy isn't high level. But ever since, he hasn't, I don't think he's lost since then.
You picked Michel, right?
Yeah, I picked Michel. It was one of my 2 losses on this card. And Michel has gotten out of that stage of just throwing super unorthodox stuff like backflips and spinning shit and just doing crazy stuff where he gets tired really quickly. But now I feel like he's at a point where he tries to be too calm. He can't get anything going.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's another one of these things where we talk about, like, when you become the best version of yourself, nobody can beat you at that level. If it doesn't matter what style it is, if you are the best version of you using that style, nobody's going to be able to beat you. Now, will anybody ever reach that? Probably not. You'll probably never ever reach that highest potential of yourself. But if you can get as close to it, that's where you'll find success. And I feel like Michel has gone away from his style.
He's walking.
And so now I feel like he's going to
take all those steps forward, just take just as much going back.
Right, exactly. I feel like he's too calm, and you just need to do what works for you, and it seems like he's just not willing to do that anymore. And Abus looked good. He did what he needed to do. He was landing takedowns when he needed, using long strikes. That front teep up the middle was keeping him at range and not letting him get close enough to do any crazy spinning stuff. But, Abus looked good. I think going into his next fights, I'll probably rank him a little bit higher, depending on who he's going against. And Michel, probably a lot lower. I think he looks really bad.
If he stays on the game plan like this, that's the hard thing about like picking like winners and losers, because you don't know what version of that fighter shows up that day.
Right.
Like, it's such a coin toss on like how well this fighter does or how bad this fighter does. Like, could be like Volk in the second fight. It's like they came in at 6 a.m., woke him up, ruined his sleep,
right.
Yada yada yada. But it's, I don't know. It's.
But yeah, you can't go away from yourself. You just got to feed more into it. Yeah. That's the best way to get as close as you can to that highest potential of whoever you are. And like I said, probably won't. Whoever Michelle fights next, if it's not a scrub, I'm probably going to pick against him.
Do you think he fights another ranked guy? Or do you think he fights a ranked guy?
I just don't know at that division at middleweight. I don't know who you would give him. I'm trying to think. I just don't know who lines up good or who, quote unquote, makes sense for him to go against at the moment. Maybe like
Sean. No, I'm playing.
yeah, throw him Sean. They train together actually at the same gym. But trying to think.
That's in Vegas, right? Couture.
Yeah, Extreme Couture. But yeah, I don't know who you would give him. The next fight, which I was kind of really sick about this one. Giga was an underdog going into this fight with David Onama, and I did not think Giga should be an underdog going against this specific type of person. Giga is really good at striking. I didn't know.
His kicks are freaking beautiful.
They're so beautiful, fast, technique, doesn't get off balance when throwing them. And I just didn't know his wrestling was that bad. I really didn't. I didn't know that he could get taken down and literally just not even try to get up. He was trying to throw elbows. Yes, I would say if you have a close round and it gets down to the last 30 seconds and you've been winning it on the feet and you get put on bottom, yeah, just spam elbows. That way the judges can at least...
Or just get on top.
Or just don't get taken down. But I can see where, spamming elbows could be a tactic in a round where you're winning on the feet. You get taken down late in the round and you're just trying to make the judges look like you're still working. If the guy just gets on top and is trying to settle.
I thought if there's at least 30 seconds left, you hit your good old hip bump sweep, try to get on top, or try to get back to your feet.
Yeah.
Don't let them control anything or do anything while you're on.
Every time he got taken down, it's like that's where the round ended. Besides in the third round. I think he got up one time in the third round, but at that point, David, you could tell his gas tank is just... I would hate to see David Onama in a 5-round fight. He would probably die.
Yeah.
He just seems to gas early, especially in that Nate Landwehr fight, if you remember, where Nate was got David Onama on the ground, was hitting ground and pound, and then just let him up, walked away, and was hyping the crowd up, and went back to fighting. If you're getting done like that,
absolutely insane.
Yeah, when you're getting done like that, that fight is the reason why I picked Giga. I was like, Giga can manhandle this dude, and he was on the feet. It was just when he got taken down, he was like, I guess I'll just stay here.
I was watching the first round of that fight, and those kicks, I'm like, dude, did I pick the wrong choice?
He did really good about realizing that he was at the disadvantage on the feet, and he needed to change game plans in order to win that fight. And he did the correct thing to do. You take the striker down and you hold him down and beat him up as much as you can. Looked really good. I thought Giga looked really good on the feet. He just has to figure out what he's going to do when he gets put on bottom.
Yeah.
Get to the cage, get up, get butterfly hooks, try to start. He did a good job in the third round where he was able to get up, but I don't know why you didn't do that in 1 and 2. You could have easily took 1 and 2 because he dropped him in the first, I'm pretty sure. Or he at least rocked him. But, yeah. You got to be well-rounded. You can't just be a specialist.
That's why it's called MMA, bro.
Yeah.
If you're not good at...
Same kickboxing.
If you're not okay at everything...
Right.
It's...
People are going to find that. They're going to find that weakness and exploit it.
Freaking Torres Finney.
Yep.
I can't wait to Spurs next freaking fight. Freaking...
They should give him just somebody with incredible takedown defense. Michel Pereira. I would watch that. Michel Pereira versus Torres Finney.
Dude, that'd actually be really good.
That would be a great fight. We're manifesting it now.
We need to hit up Dana.
Yeah. But that was a good fight besides Giga just not being able to get up. And then we had Zhang Ming Yang versus Anthony Smith. I said that right. I think I said that right. Zhang Ming Yang versus Anthony Smith. Like I said in the pod leading up to this card, I thought Anthony should have retired 2 fights ago.
I'm glad he was retired now.
60 fights, which is kind of crazy. 60 fights.
That's an accomplishment by itself.
He said he had 60 just professional fights. He had 25 amateur fights. And then he also did like smokers coming up. So this dude probably has like over 100 fights.
You know those people who have like 300
The Muay Thai fighters?
No, like amateur fights?
No. Amateur MMA?
Dude, or I like just amateur fights in general. I don't know if they like categorize.
I know amateur boxing, they do a lot of those.
Yeah, but that's something I guess I don't know. That having that many amateur fights, like if you're just fighting scrubs the whole time and then like after 100 fights you're like, why am I 100-0?
Right.
And like not
at some point you want to make money from it, kind of, I guess.
Like,
even
just go pro.
Yeah.
Like
Ilia Topuria only had 3 amateur fights. Then
that's crazy. Like I think that's super. I mean that's pretty fast.
It's probably because being from Spain, the MMA scene probably isn't big out there. It's probably hard for him to find opponents in general, especially as an amateur. Nobody's going to get paid. But, yeah, I mean, Zhang Jang came out, did what he always does. He has like 15 first-round KOs. Dude, landed that elbow in the clinch up against the cage, cut him, and he was leaking.
Nasty. Yeah, it was like squirting.
Yeah, and then I don't know how they ended up on the ground or how. I think Anthony went for a takedown. That's what it was. Anthony went for a takedown, went for the double leg, ended up on his knees and stayed there. That is like one of the wrestling 101. When you're like a freshman or sophomore in high school, they teach you when you go for a takedown, you need to be on your knee. Even if you're going to pop off the mat and use your knee and it's going to touch the mat, it needs to be there for as little time as possible. If you go on a double leg on your knees and stay there, you're not going to get that takedown. You're just not.
Yeah, that was my biggest problem in school too. I was
getting the entry but not finishing.
Yeah, I'd have the prettiest shot ever. I had videos. I'll send you a couple of videos.
Cool.
So if I can find them, we'll clip it here.
Yeah.
But like I'd be in on a deep shot. I'd be in on my knees and just
can't finish.
Get either pancakes. I never like chin whip or anything like that, but get sprawled on like it just freaking. That's my biggest kryptonite was getting off my knees.
And one thing, like whenever I try to teach somebody that aspect of wrestling, I tell them like you want to try and imagine the mat is a trampoline, and as soon as your knee touches it, it's gonna bounce right back up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like your knee touching the ground shouldn't be like how should I explain this? You shouldn't think of that as like part of the technique. It's almost like you should. That's a bad way to put it. You should think of it as like. Once your knee touches the ground, that's like a switch in your brain that means I've gotten as low as I can get, now I need to start going back up.
Yeah, it's like if you had to break your takedown into parts, it's like the first part is the entry. I get in the entry, I'm using my knee to level where I am on the shot, and then once that knee hits the ground, you're in the second part of your takedown.
Mm-hmm.
That's when knee gets off the mat as fast as possible into your takedown to finish it.
Yeah, and I feel like when it comes to people that are inexperienced in wrestling, minimizing that gap between the entry and the finish is probably the hardest thing to do. Because you think once you get in on that leg, like, I got him. But a lot of times, you don't. You got to know how to get in on that double, cut the angle, run your feet. Not what Anthony did is shoot the double and just grab your legs. Yeah.
It looked like the spray and pray action, like freaking holding on for dear life while getting beat up.
Yeah, and so
especially in MMA where like you can get punished so much more. Like wrestling, it's hard by yourself getting stuck on bottom.
Right.
In MMA,
that can be tiring.
Yeah.
If you get in on a singlet and someone sprawls and you sit there, your arms will gas so fast.
Dude, it's crazy how like I don't know people that's. Don't go to your knee.
Yeah. Well, you can go to your knee, just bounce. It needs to be like a bouncing action. It doesn't need to be, and you stay there.
Yeah.
That's where you get stuck. But went for that takedown, got stuck on bottom, shelled up. Felt like he was just. It felt like when I was watching him shell up from those shots instead of trying to get up, the ref. And this is another thing about MMA, and with the refs and everything, and
Mhm.
people are like, the refs need to be unbiased. It's impossible when you watch fighting and you know these guys and you have to be in there with them and you talk to them outside of the cage. There's going to be a bias no matter what, even if you
They
try
should
to.
make like refs stop watching fights or like.
But then they need, as you saw, one of the refs messed up. He twice on Saturday. I don't know if you saw, 2 times Dan Mergliotta, at the end of the round, he heard the clapper and thought it was the horn and tried to stop the fight. And then the fighters, both times, this shows how good awareness the fighters have because they didn't stop. They held on to it and looked at him like, "Are you sure?" And then Dan was like, no, keep going. And then they would go back. Both times, people were caught in a submission too. And not that I think they were going to get the finish if Dan didn't have that little awkward moment with them. But the whole point behind that was the refs need to watch fights to be able to learn and be able to know
Well, you can watch
what not
fights,
to.
but you
Old
like
fights.
I guess or them from watching. I guess like current fights. Like if you're a UFC ref or whatever, and you're like watching one championship won't hurt.
Right.
Watching fights is like honestly like super critical. Like that's something really good.
Yeah.
But like to avoid that bias, because there's going to be a ref out there who's like, this guy's super tough, and then he gets dropped. It's like he's okay. He's going to get back up.
Right. And he
He's
might
almost
not.
dead.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and I felt like that. And the reason I brought that up, it felt Jason Herzog was the ref on this fight with Anthony Smith and Zhang Ming Yang, and it felt like Jason gave him so many opportunities to work back in.
Dude.
He was like, "Anthony, you got to move. Anthony, you got to move.
Yeah,
Anthony,
I
you got to
actually
move."
kind of like that he did that, just in case he did. But I think Anthony was done before this fight.
Yeah,
And that's
he should have retired 2 fights ago.
that's something I ruled out. But yeah, he was well done before this fight.
Yeah.
He did. I don't think he wanted to win this fight.
Yeah, it felt like watching him shell up. He knew I'm taking half my paycheck home, and that's it. I'm cool with that. Felt like he was just cool with.
I think he just
like
wanted
that.
to fight again. Like I know I had this like little pity party after. It's like I'm like he was like sad about it or whatever.
Shoot, I was sad. I can't lie. I shed a tear watching that retirement.
I didn't.
No, that's okay.
I lost. I was like, hey, Anthony Smith, his experience is pretty good. I'm sure he won't do anything stupid.
Yeah.
Grabs his legs and prays. And
Yeah. It's just watching Anthony and where he came from.
I used to love watching Anthony Smith.
Yeah, and the whole moment where on the highlight reel they put the moment of him and John Jones where Anthony was literally one word from being a world champion. When John Jones threw that illegal knee up against the cage against Anthony when Anthony was on the ground, Anthony could have been like, I can't continue.
I respect that so much.
And his
I don't know why he didn't.
His moral code and the morals he lives by and the standards that he sets for himself would not allow him to just... Because he personally knew he could keep fighting. And I don't think he would have been able to really feel like a champion if that's how he wanted.
Like some aljo
Right.
stuff.
It sucks to see that he never would get back to that spot. That was his only title shot, and he was never able to make it back to that. But it like you were saying, it shows...
I want to ask him if he regrets not doing that.
I don't think he
I'm sure
does.
he doesn't. But
It kind of makes... That's like probably the biggest part of his story is that he refused to win like that.
That's super respectable. I don't respect the fact that he lost like that. But.
Right, yeah.
it was... I don't even want to say it was a good fight just because, like... He was... I don't want to blame it on him because I don't think he was fighting for himself. I think he was just fighting to stay there as long as possible.
Right, yeah. That was probably like he had one more fight left on his contract and was just trying to get that out. And light heavyweights get paid. I'm sure if we looked up exactly how much he probably got paid to lose, probably like $200,000.
Yeah. And he's pretty
I'll get
good
TKO
man,
for $200 right now.
I wouldn't hold somebody's legs and let them like knock me out.
Yeah.
But, like I'd definitely try to build up or move positions. I wouldn't just like sit there for 200.
Fair.
Well, I don't know. I might. I'm broke right now. So.
Yeah, exactly. $200K? That sounds nice. But, yeah, respect to the legend, if that's what you want to call him, 60-fight vet. Did everything he could. And then the main event, which was kind of sick. I know you got probably a spill you want to go off on this, but...
Yeah, you want to start?
Yeah, no, you got it.
All right. Okay, here, I'm going to give my props first. Ian Garry won that fight solely off of IQ. His IQ is, his fight IQ is actually, super well. I enjoy watching him fight because of how smart he is as a fighter.
I don't like the whole touching gloves, being nice. I hate that.
I understand it every now and then.
I felt like he did that on purpose, though.
I do that when I'm
to throw him off.
I do that to take a couple extra deep breaths.
Yeah.
That's literally the only time I do it. I'll be super tired. I'm like,
good job, dude.
Yeah. Overall, his IQ is I respect that. Just him being a fighter, just that high. He let Carlos chase after him. He'd catch him here and there. And, his movement was pretty good the whole fight. And just kept tagging and moving. Carlos could never get him, in the corner. He was just pretty much chasing him the whole time. Instead of, I thought Carlos, when I picked him, I was like, I feel like he's going to be able to do enough to get Ian Garry up against the cage, which he was up against the cage, and I feel like he was going to be able to cut the cage off better, and that's something he didn't do.
Yeah, Ian Garry did really good at moving side to side when he got put in those situations.
Yeah, he did great.
And not, telegraphing which direction he was going to go. Another thing I noticed, and this happened a lot throughout the card, opposite stances. There was a lot of fights at opposite stances. Yeah, on last night. And the main event was one of them. Garry being orthodox and Carlos being southpaw. And you could tell Garry was using his length as much as possible, using the jab and the high kick from the
his
rear
head
side.
kick was pretty nice. I wish actually both of them switched it up a bit more. I feel like if he would have went more inside leg kicks then to head kicks, it would have been a lot better. Or if Carlos took his legs out earlier,
right,
that would have helped him out. Or hit more to the body early in the rounds. He wasn't doing as much as I wanted him to do at all. Like what I said earlier about the aggression thing, I feel like you should, at least I see a lot of fights won just off aggression by itself. And there was a lack of that, or just a lack. He went forward.
He waited too long.
Yeah, didn't go forward the correct way. Don't even start on it. Waited too long.
Well, this is another thing that I was telling you earlier. It's and I was telling Corey and Eric when they asked me who I would have in this fight, and my reasoning was I worry about Prates in a 5-round fight. And it's not, a lot of people when they hear that.
Did you see that video of him outside smoking before?
Yes.
That's okay.
But look, it's when people hear me say oh, this guy wouldn't do good in 5 rounds, they probably think he won't last 5 rounds. Yeah. It's not just about being able to stay in there for 25 minutes.
Being able to function.
Yeah, not only function, but able to put output out there, not coast. Because anybody can coast for 25 minutes. Almost anybody. If you're even slightly trained, you can stay on the back foot at opposite stances where you're as far from your opponent as possible and coast for a fight. See everything coming and don't try to do too much offensive. And that's what he did the first 3 rounds. He coasted. He felt like he was afraid of getting tired, so he waited too long to get on the offense. And in that 4th round, I think he won 4 and 5. If he would have started at 3, he could have won that fight.
I thought he should take away his smoking privileges. That fight made me mad.
But he was the one putting the pressure on in the 5th, so it can't hurt him that bad.
No.
Not that I agree with smoking.
I just want. Actually, before I go on that rant, did you see the video of? So you remember was Greg Hardy when he took his inhaler?
Yeah.
Inside there was this guy I saw a post. It's if Greg Hardy was able to have his inhaler, he should be able to have
a cigarette in between rounds. Yeah,
that's smoking those in between rounds. I was like, dude, that's.
I've seen that in Muay Thai fights.
Have you?
Yeah. I'll roll a clip. This really huge, big Muay Thai guy, like 300 pounds, was going against like this lighter dude. He was probably under 200 pounds, but like he was hitting the hookah in the corner and just like blowing smoke out. It was the Muay Thai fights where they got all like the armbands and the headband and all that. I'll roll a clip because it's funny.
Okay, let's regroup. Big fella went from smoking a square to let's square up. It's diabolical. He went from nicotine straight to a crime scene. He went from a Marlboro to rocking niggas' world. Hold that. I'm finna get a nap out of you. Shit, when they start selling melatonin gloves. Fuck this Ayugi. Ref, help. You got my head falling off the gristle, bucko. Why y'all ain't tell me I was fighting the final ball? Good buddy, don't hit me with no more of those. You done erased all my content. They gonna have to factory reset you, Brody, bro. Big fella, you brought a kick with you? They gonna have to wrap me up in aluminum foil. He gonna have my whole body falling off the bone. This ungovernable. Big fella, come on now. I eat those. Them one pieces ain't gonna do it. You ain't got no family meal with no combos on you? Big fella, you not just gonna be up when I told you go to bed. Go to sleep. God damn it, go to sleep. Go to sleep. What type of chin you got? Big fella, we ain't even gotta keep doing this. This ain't my fight, this God's fight. He done went from smoking a cigarette to smoking a light pack. Get God on the phone.
But I agree. I think you should be able to smoke a cigarette in between rounds if you want.
Where are you gonna put the cigarette? I mean, I guess.
Tell your coach, bring a lighter in my pack. I guess. But like I was saying, I think if Prates would have started the pressure he did in the 4th and 5th, he could have won that fight.
Dude, before the 3 rounds was over, I think he could have won a lot earlier. I feel like it would have went to the 3rd round, but I feel like it wouldn't have gone past that if all he did was pressure.
Right. And another thing I agree. And another thing about the opposite stances is this is why I love people that can switch stances, because you can change the range. When people are the same stance, you naturally will find yourself just a little bit closer. It's not going to be a crazy difference. But when you're at opposite stances, you find yourself naturally just a little bit further away. And people are having to use longer weapons like Garry was with his jab and head kick on the rear side. But if Carlos would have had the ability to swap to orthodox, he probably could have landed harder shots because he would have been closer. But he didn't ever do that.
Also, this is like another story I talked to Tyler about. I don't like how, at least I know when we train in our gym, I don't like how people switch to southpaw. I feel like people do that just, I don't know why people do that actually. But like, I feel like they do it for the wrong reason whenever they're doing it.
They don't realize why they're doing it.
Yeah, so it's like, you can switch, I don't care if you switch stances, but like, no one practices southpaw like
on the pads
at least 50% of the time.
No.
It's
unless you're left-handed.
I mean, our natural southpaws are southpaws.
Yeah.
But all our orthodox people who will switch stance, like, you guys are just switching stances to avoid this problem or avoid this problem or whatever. Like, stay there, learn how to fix it.
Right.
And then go from there about it. It's like, we'll have a guy, like, I know there's, I don't know if you know who Dave is, but he'll come in, like, I know he has his power days and his southpaw days. You know, like, we'll work on southpaw and let's sort of going over, like, a super long combo or something like that, or something super new. He'll go back orthodox and work on it from there. But it is so, like, it kills me that people don't shadow box, they don't hit pads, none of that gets done but
they're trying to do it. They're still trying to be southpaw without putting in the work.
They'll switch and then like try to go south. I'm like, dude, you're not doing anything for yourself at all.
Right.
At least train southpaw at least once a week. Drill it, shadow box, anything. At least once a week. And like that'd just make more sense to me by itself.
I'm gonna give a little hint to why I swap stances, and probably people, hopefully not too many, my opponents in the future don't figure this out, but I've done it in each one of my fights. The only time, or the reason why I swap stances is depending on which way they're rotating. Mm-hmm. So if you're rotated to my right, I'll be in orthodox because you're going to rotate into my power side. But if you're going left, if I'm looking at you, I'm going to go southpaw because you're going to rotate into my power side still.
So that's the thing, though. You know why you switch stances.
Right.
Most people just switch stances, and it freaking kills me.
Right.
Like, it tears my brain apart. I'm like, why are you switching? There's no reason for you to switch stances at all.
Right.
And I don't know.
Unless the only time if you really didn't understand why you're switching stances, the only time I would find it appropriate is if you're trying to get out of range. So you just take if I'm in orthodox, and I guess I don't know if I can make this work. But if I'm in orthodox and I'm trying to get out of range of a strike, I'll take 2 steps back, but I'll end up in orthodox still.
Yeah, but that's not
right. That's not swapping to southpaw and then
yeah. Like people try to swap and then spar in it, and then it's not working, so they switch back. And then they're still getting beat up, so then they switch back. They're just going back and forth. I'm like, dude, you can go just actually work on it. Don't just try it. It's sparring. Let me try it, and only do it in sparring as well.
Right. Yeah. You gotta spend diligent time working on those weapons.
That's just something that trains me. But that's
that's a little rant. But yeah. So work on your southpaw. Do pads in southpaw. Do shadow boxing in southpaw. And stop swapping stances for no reason. One
more thing about I'll go on my little tangent. I don't care what anybody says. Ian Machado Garry quit that fight. He was crawling away.
Yeah.
Please put that up.
Yeah.
Round and pound as we approach the final minutes.
Oh, heavy shots! He was crawling away. Trying to run away. I've never seen somebody quit besides I guess Carlos when that happened.
Yeah.
But you can't call somebody a quitter, then quit mid-fight.
Right.
That killed me as well.
I know that 45 seconds had to be the longest 45 seconds of his life.
And then he had the nerve to say, "Yeah, I was there the whole time." Dude, you were 4 punches in a row away from getting finished.
Yeah, it was so close. My mouth was dropped open oh my
Dude,
God.
I was jumping up and down at work. I was at work. I put my phone down. I did a whole lap, and I came down. I was like, why is it not over? And I'm just freaking out. And then this guy's just sitting on top of him, just barely. You don't even have to hit him hard. Just throw a bunch more. Just as much volume as you can in this last 40 seconds. You can do anything for 40 seconds. That doesn't make sense. For him just to sit there. That made me I was
hyped for it too because that 4th round he started putting the pressure on him and you could tell Ian was starting to feel it, and then they went into Carlos's corner going into the 5th and Carlos was like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna get mine." And so I was like, "Oh no, dude, he might."
That makes you so mad. Dude, you can gas out however long you want to. I believe anybody can do anything for 10 seconds. And 10 seconds isn't that much. That's
right.
40 seconds. That made me so mad. And the fact that he had the nerve to quit in the fight.
But like we were talking about with his IQ, he knew he was hurt. And he started playing that game where I'm going to put my knee on the ground so you can't kick me in the head.
Dude,
And then he would go to his butt and use his 2 legs to frame off of him to keep him a little further away. So he was trying his best to survive. But I agree with you. Carlos should have. He had every opportunity to finish that fight.
One of my favorite phrases, the guy named Joe Calvin taught me this, but he was take him to deep waters and see if he can swim. He was in deep waters and was drowning. Well, I guess they both were. Well, it's not 40 seconds, though. It killed me. It was
a long 40 seconds, too. It felt like I had money on Garry, and I'm just sitting there there's no way you're about to mess this up.
Yeah, that's.
It was a good card though. It was good for the
fight.
It was good for the hardcores when you're learning how to fight against opposite stances because there were so many open stance fights. So that was that card. Moving on to the next card, which is another great one when it comes to the main event, at least, as long as Corey doesn't find a way to make it a stinker like he did in Nashville. We'll start with the first fight on the main card, Mason Jones versus Jeremy Stephens. And I'll let you get the first pick on that.
For this one, I got Mason Jones by TKO.
TKO. And what's your reasoning?
I didn't write any notes.
I agree with you. I picked Mason Jones too, and this one was kind of hard for me to pick, kind of, but not really. I went back and looked at Jeremy's record, and I was wondering how his last few MMA fights went. Yeah. He had 3 fights in the PFL, went 1-2 in those, and then his last 10 fights in the UFC, he won 2 of them.
Yeah.
And one was by decision. I don't remember what the other one was. But he had like 6 or 7 losses in a row, kind of how like Tony Ferguson has. But I know there is moments in people's lives where they can switch gears and reach a new level. And I don't know if Jeremy has done that, but seeing him come off this BKFC win against Eddie Alvarez, which look, he broke Eddie's face, that he could have hit this new level in his boxing, but this is a fight. This is an MMA fight. And there's going to be wrestling exchanges. There's going to be jiu-jitsu involved. But what worries me about picking Mason Jones is he kind of went through a smaller way that Jeremy went through when it came to the UFC. Like, Jeremy had a bunch of fights, lost a majority of them. When Mason Jones went to UFC after going to the Cage Warrior, after coming off the Cage Warriors the first time, he went like 2-1-1 or something, and the 2 wins were against not that great of opposition. One of them was David Onama, which fought on last Saturday or last night, and I don't hold David Onama as a super high level fighter. He does what he's got to do to win, but Mason Jones, he had that stint in the UFC, didn't do too hot, went back to Cage Warriors, won 4 fights in Cage Warriors, and now he's coming back to the UFC and fighting Jeremy Stephens. And the only thing that worries me about that is that Mason Jones and the fights that he did lose in the UFC were against average people, I would say. Average is a bad way to put it because anybody in the UFC is probably above average at fighting. But he couldn't beat the super high-level dudes. I don't know if Jeremy is one of them high-level guys, and he's 38, and Mason is 30. So
age is a factor.
Yeah, so based off of that...
Watch him lose because I said that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mason should win this fight, but if Jeremy has hit a new level in his potential and has gotten closer to that, nobody can beat that dude, so we're going to find out. We're both picking Mason Jones, which Or
did you want to go ahead? So I was 1-4.
You went...
I only got one right.
1-6?
I got the David Onama.
And I went 4-6, so that means I'm up by 3. Which I don't know the total score, but I'll have to go back and put this
your chart wrong. You had Brad Tavares.
It was 1-1 before this, so now it's 4-2.
Yes. So
No. 5-2. Okay, I got 4 right. So if anybody's listening to this, we still need a stipulation for at the end of the year who has the least amount right. Somebody's got to do something. I don't know what it is or what we're gonna do, but while I'm up, make it something crazy. The next fight is a Ukraine dude, which I'm gonna mess his name up. I'm gonna say Serhiy Sadeh versus the American Cameron Smotherman. I don't know too much about these dudes. I do know a little bit about the Ukrainian guy. The Ukrainian guy had a fight on the Contender Series that was probably one of the best fights on Contender Series ever. Mm-hmm. It was a great fight. And I think they gave the decision to the wrong person. So they made them rematch in the UFC. Like, both their next fight was in the UFC in an arena in front of people. And I think he won. I think he won the rematch. Or he lost. I can't remember. Anyways, he then goes off and gets another win, and now he's got this fight against an up-and-comer, a new guy. I'm pretty sure this is Cameron Smotherman's first fight in the UFC. Could be wrong. But the Ukraine guy is not bad when it comes to being able to stick in a fight and grit out punishment if it's given to him. He can stay in there the whole time, so that's why I'm going to pick him.
That's what I picked, too. Today.
Yeah.
I just wrote his last name down.
Represent Ukraine, man. Is that all that stuff still going on? Russia and Ukraine?
I'm not sure.
Who cares? Who
cares?
So we both picked the same on the first 2 fights. Then we got Daniel Marcos, a guy from Peru, going against Montel Jackson, which this fight was hard for me to pick too because the Peru guy is undefeated at 17-0, which is the same record as Ilia Topuria. So getting 17 wins without taking a loss makes it hard to pick against you.
Depending on how old you are.
Yes.
I learned that the hard way.
But these guys are around the same age.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
So But what worries me about, I'm going to pick Daniel Marcos because of that undefeated record and being 17-0. It's hard to pick against a guy that has won 17 fights without taking a loss. He just knows how to win. And Montel Jackson, I am scared that this will be the guy to take that undefeated record because Montel Jackson has now won like 5 fights in a row in the UFC, which that is a big accomplishment of its own. I don't know if there's probably only like 5 other bantamweights that are on a 5-5 winning streak or more.
Yeah.
So it worries me. I definitely think he could do it, but I'm gonna pick the undefeated Peru guy.
Dude, I picked Montel Jackson for this one. I don't know. I had a good hunch. I've seen a lot of donuts get taken this year, so. Yeah,
I tend to notice that too. It's like anytime I see an undefeated guy, they lose that day. And it's hard to know when or if that undefeated record is really like stacked with competition.
Yeah, is it like a justifiable undefeated, right? Or is it just?
And he does have one no contest.
Yeah.
Which I don't know exactly how that happened. I probably should go look that up. But he undefeated with 1 no contest. It's hard to pick against a winner.
For sure, yeah. This one. Yeah, it was.
It's a hard one to pick, but I like that we're going head to head on this one. It'll be a good fight to watch. Next fight is Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Daniel Rodriguez. D-Rod. D-Rod he's coming off a split decision win against Alex Morono. But before that, he lost to someone, and then he got knocked out by Ian Garry before that. And that was how Ian Garry broke into the rankings, and he got that. You know that tattoo Ian Garry has? He has a 15.
Oh, yeah.
Because he got ranked in the UFC. Kind of weird.
Wag.
Yeah.
I mean.
With that, this guy Santiago Ponzinibbio, when I first watched him fight, I thought this dude was so elite. And I was bragging to my friend about him. I was like, this dude, you need to put money on this guy because he is great. And he's going against Li Jingliang at the time. And I was like, he's going to smoke this dude, this guy. And he gets knocked out. So ever since then, I've had mixed feelings about Santiago. And I just don't know when he's going to be on or off. It's kind of like with Vincente Luque, if anybody watches him. You never know when that dude is going to show up or if he's just going to suck. And Santiago's the same way. You never know if he's going to show up and be elite or is he going to show up and lay an egg. I'm going to hope this is one of those times. This is the person he's going against, Daniel Rodriguez. This is a fight where he could show that he's elite. Mm-hmm. So that's the reason I'm going to pick him.
So I picked Daniel Rodriguez.
Two fights head to head. Is there a reason you picked Daniel?
I don't have to.
D-Rod. He's got really good stand-up. I got him by
decision, though.
He's got really good stand-up, and the story behind him is, I think he went to prison for a while or something. I don't know what he did.
Yeah, I have all my names written down and how I think they're going to win. Not like rounds or anything like that.
Yeah. But
I don't know what I'm thinking. Yeah.
But, yeah, I think Santiago, he should be able to win this one. I would not be surprised if he goes out there and lays an egg, though. So, prayers up. Next fight, big fight. Bo Nickel versus Reiner D. Ritter.
Yeah.
D. Ritter is coming from one championship. He was a 2-weight class champ and won. And then his only 2 losses are to the same dude who was in one. Finished him both times. I think he knocked him out in the first round the first time they fought, and then the second time they fought, he TKO'd him in the third. But ever since then, he hasn't lost. He's coming off a win against Kevin Holland, where he kind of just smoked Kevin on the ground as soon as they went to the ground. And Kevin's not bad at jiu-jitsu either.
No, he's not. He's black belt.
This fight worries me, though, because I'm a Bo Nickel hater at his finest.
I don't like Bo Nickel. Well, actually, I love the wrestling Bo Nickel.
Right.
The MMA Bo Nickel is seeing wrestlers transition into MMA, they get this higher sense of superiority or whatever, and it's like they just like glowed off that, and it's like just.
I watched Bo Nickel growing up in high school. He was still wrestling when I was wrestling, but he was in college, and Penn State is like the Alabama of Alabama's football program, and like everybody hates Alabama unless you're like a fan of them.
I'm a fan of winners.
Yeah, so it's the same. It's the same way with wrestling when it comes to Penn State. It's like the only people that like the Penn State. This is a broad term, but the only people that like Penn State are Penn State fans, and it's just because they're so good at winning, and they kind of taken over the NCAA wrestling atmosphere, where they are always the team national champs. They always have multiple national champions. They had every single person in every weight class qualify and make it to the quarters.
Top 6. I don't think anyone placed below 6.
Yeah, but not only that, they had every single person make it to the quarterfinals too, which is wild.
Yeah, I was absolutely.
So I've been a Penn State hater for a long time. So seeing Bo Nickel come up into the UFC I was an automatic hater from day one. And I hate that I'm going to pick him in this fight. Because if I pick him and he loses...
You're going to be happy.
I'm going to be like even a bigger hater. Because it's like the one time I'm going to pick you, bro, that's the time you're going to lose.
Oh, yeah. I feel that way about a lot.
So I think he can win this just because, like you said, you're a fan of winners. I'm the same way. He's a guy that has shown that he knows how to win against different styles too.
I don't know if I'd go that far yet.
It is early. This is 8th professional.
Yeah,
fight.
he's 7-0. So
yeah. He's going against not a scrub either. Somebody that can win 2 championships and 1 championship at 2.
1 championship's like that's a serious.
They don't test either, so he's going against roided out dudes and beating them.
They don't test.
Like I said, yeah. I don't think so.
No. I would have won championship.
Yeah. So, I think this Rainer D. Ritter guy can win? I do think he can win, but I feel like Bo Nickel they've walked him up the ladder as good as they could, if that makes any sense. They laid out the game plan for him to have success in the sport, and this is his. I feel like first for real true test. And the only time I've seen Bo Nickel struggle was the one time he lost in the NCAA finals against Miles Martin, the Ohio State guy.
That was
and insane. That guy, and the funny thing about that is like their record against each other, like Bo has won like 9 out of the 11 times they've gone against each other. But Miles, one of the wins he got was in the NCAA finals, and he broke Bo. You could tell Bo was just broke. He was gassed, just trying to force things, couldn't get anything going. And I see that image of him every time I think about or hear his name. I see him gassing out against Miles Martin in the NCAA finals. And he did. That was his freshman year. He went on to win it 3 more times after that. So can't really knock the dude too hard for it, but I think he should win this fight. I think he knows how to win. I think he's smart. His IQ is probably going to be high level. But it scares me, dude, because I know this Dave Ritter dude has 13 wins by submission.
Yeah, he's a grappler. So.
Yeah, so
that's why I'm excited.
And Bo Nickel, last time he went against a grappler, he was scared to grapple him.
Dude, I love how they made the comparison from Hamzat to Bo, and on the different spectrums they are. Everyone's like, let's see Hamzat versus Bo.
I'd love that fight.
It doesn't matter who you are, Hamzat will try to take you down.
Yes.
And do whatever he needs to do to win. Bo, on the other hand, was scared to go with his bread and butter because this guy knows jiu-jitsu.
Right. And that's another thing, too. Like, when you come into the UFC as a wrestler, we want to see wrestling as fans. We want to see what your wrestling works, how it works in an MMA cage. And if you're just going to, because this guy is kind of good at jiu-jitsu, Paul Craig is really good at jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
But if you're just going to be scared to wrestle him because of that, Like, I don't want to see you strike for 3 rounds.
I was the
And
worst
back
striker in
foot.
my life.
Yeah, I don't want to see you be on the back foot and coast for 3 rounds because you're scared to use your best tool. Chael Sonnen made a big old spiel about that. He was like, somebody in Bo Nickal's camp told him to be afraid almost of the jiu-jitsu, and he shouldn't have
That's
been.
like the freaking gayest thing ever.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't know if I understood that, but that is the gayest thing ever. Like, I don't know. It's like freaking. I don't know. It's crazy to me.
I just you can't have that tool in your back pocket and not even try it once. He didn't shoot one time in 15 minutes, and
I thought that was embarrassing.
that worries me in this fight too because that D. Ritter dude is gonna try and grapple some.
Dude, so that's honestly how I picked it. So I picked Bo Nickel as well.
Okay.
I don't know if I don't
No,
think
you
I said it. So yeah, I picked Bo Nickel. I figured this. I don't think there won't be an early takedown or anything like that, but he might shoot a late takedown first round, and if that's successful, he might. I'm thinking he's going to go back to the takedown, and just like get riding time and just like control positions, and that's how I'm looking at this fight going.
I wouldn't be surprised seeing Bo not initiate grappling exchanges again, but D. Ritter will go for a grappling exchange and Bo will end up on top.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is just through a scramble. I could just see Bo just having better wrestling and knowing how to end up on top. But I don't think he initiates the exchange. I think he waits for D. Ritter to come to him and try it, and then he just kind of smokes him in that area. Kind of how Ian Garry was going for takedowns.
Yeah.
And Carlos could have swapped to offensive wrestling plenty of times.
Dude, no, there was a position. Was it the fourth round? Or he got on top. Or no, he could have had his back.
Yeah.
And he just stood up.
Yeah, he wanted to stay striking. Like, he would defend the takedown and then get back out to space. I would like to see, I don't care if you're a striker, like, defend the takedown, and if you defend 5 takedowns, you might as well try to get your own, because if you get one that you made it look like you're the better wrestler off of one takedown attempt.
You just dominated that part of the score.
Yeah. So I think that would be another cool thing to see Carlos, because he was not doing bad in those grappling.
I want to see him jump for a submission. I kind of wanted to see him win by submission.
Yeah, that'd be sick. But back on this fight with Bo and D. Ritter, I could see D. Ritter initiating the grappling exchange, Bo Nickel ending on top. The part that I don't know what's going to happen is if Bo is going to get submitted with D. Ritter off his back. That scares me a little bit.
I don't see that happening.
The only reason I say that, and this is a wild take, I admit this is a wild take, but Gordon Ryan submitted Bo Nickel off of his back with a triangle.
Mm. So yeah, if he gets submitted, it'd be via triangle. Honestly, I feel like if Bo gets submitted, it's going to be if any way it happens, it's going to be a triangle from the back. It's going to be just like a random front headlock exchange, and he gets caught. Which I don't think that's really likely. Or he gets stuck on bottom and can't get up. Or he gets broken. This is later on in the fight. Boom, he breaks, and then it's now he's on bottom.
Yeah.
And is struggling to get up.
Yeah, I mean, one thing you can say about Bo Nickel, I guess, after that Paul Craig fight is that he can go 15 minutes. But that's another thing, like I was saying with Carlos. I'm worried about him going the distance because anybody can coast. And Bo Nickel showed that he can coast for 15 minutes against a jiu-jitsu guy. But if D. Ritter starts putting the offense on early and Bo Nickel's trying to catch up, I don't know if his gas tank is going to be able to stay with that.
Yeah.
But this is a cool thing about fighting. We get to find out Saturday. The main event, also super fire. Corey Sandhagen versus Figgy. Who you got?
I have Corey on this one. Corey Sandhagen for I put decision win, but hopefully not a BS win.
Right.
So,
yeah, I feel that. I picked Sandhagen too, and the reason why I'm picking him is I feel like Figgy's got really good striking, but I think Corey has better distance management and is going to be able to
I feel like it's
nullify that
extra bit of IQ.
And the only part I worry about, and it's this reason right here is the reason why I picked Corey, because I really don't have to worry about it. Is Figgy is really good at grappling.
Yeah.
He used to be. They used to do like sand wrestling wherever he's from. I'm sure if anybody's watching, you've probably seen the dudes that go out on the beach and they make a little circle, and they're not even doing regular wrestling either. It's more based off like throws and stuff, kind of like Greco or freestyle.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to try that.
Yeah, sand wrestling would probably be fun. You get dirty real quick, or get sand in your mouth.
Just imagine
and eyes.
like you hit like a throw, and it's like they try to turn like so like they don't go feet to back, and then you just bury their face in the sand.
Yeah,
that'd be sick.
That's what I would worry about, is getting sand in my eyes and nose and mouth. Yeah, I couldn't do it. But I think Corey's going to be able to. He showed that he can grapple too, so I'm not necessarily worried about that. I think Corey is just been at bantamweight longer. He's going to be bigger, and he's going to be bigger, longer, no Diddy, and better IQ. I think that's what wins the fight. So that wraps it up for UFC over the past 2 weeks, or the past week and the week coming up. You got any other combat news you want to talk about?
So, the U.S. Wrestling Open was this past weekend.
Trying to get a spot on the U.S. team.
I thought about signing up.
That would be sick.
Yeah,
anybody can sign up, right? You don't have to qualify.
Yeah, I think you just sign up for it, and because then the winner of this tournament goes competes at final.
Final X.
Final X. Yeah. So yeah, that'd be super cool.
Any wrestlers you want to highlight?
Well, so I went over all the winners. So at 57 kilograms, you have Lightning Luke Liddell from Penn State.
Lightning Luke, is that a nickname?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
thought that was his actual name. Which
no, but he's I'm a big fan. I don't want to say I'm a Penn State fan. I'm more a fan of individual wrestlers, because there's a couple Penn State wrestlers I do not like at all. But like I don't know, the individual wrestling part. They have a couple of them that I like, and they're pretty consistent with the people I like. So I'm more of a individual wrestler, but they have enough for me to say I like the team, and I've liked them since I was started wrestling.
Right.
So yeah, we have Luke Liddell at 57 kilograms. Jax Forrest, who beat Seth Gross.
How old is he? He looks
younger than me. He's a senior. He's going to be a senior.
And he could possibly be on the U.S. team if he beats Vito at Final X.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good match. Jax Forrest versus Vito Arujau. Then we have at 65 kilos, we got Joseph McKenna.
Didn't he come from Minnesota?
Yeah. I don't keep too much up with him, but I've seen him wrestle before. He's pretty good. 70, we have Yanni Diakomahalich.
4-time, one of the few 4-time.
Or I guess there's like 6 of them now.
Yeah, but I hate that whole 5-time thing.
Yeah, so I mean there's still 6 of them because he's. And then personally, one of my favorite wrestlers to watch, Mitchell Messenbrick at 74 kilos.
What do you like about Mitchell so much?
Dude, his pace is absolutely amazing. He went 5-0 tech balls the whole way through. His this year for
you know who he had in the finals?
I can't think of his name right now, but freaking even David Kirk.
He went against Kirk.
Ken Kaizen?
Yeah, Ken Kaizen.
I thought that was. Oh, cause he beat David Carr in the semis. That's, he's such an exciting wrestler. He doesn't stop moving. He's tech balled everybody. 16-6 David Carr. I don't remember what the score was with Kid Kaizen, but dude, he's always moving super fast. Just like my favorite wrestler to watch. That's the type of wrestling I love to see. Then we got Evan Wick at 79. Zahid
that
Valencia,
dude's from Nebraska?
I believe so. Or
I feel like I remember watching him wrestle.
Yeah, there's a couple guys I didn't. I'm trying to remember.
I see Zahid, the Arizona State alumni.
Zahid Valencia beat Kyle Dake.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. That was awesome.
Kyle, I think, should retire.
I just like Kyle Dake. So.
I love Kyle Dake. He's one of the people, when people try to tell me I need to, like, lift weights or something, I'm like, Kyle Dake doesn't lift weights, and he's a 4-time national champion.
Dude, Kyle Dake's a crazy
Olympic gold medalist, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. Then at 92 kilos, we got Trent Hilday. 97 kilos, we got Kyle Snyder, who's another
97.
dog. And then, unfortunately, at heavyweight...
Why you say unfortunately?
I don't think he's that good.
He won.
Yeah,
he's better than everybody else.
You can win and not be better than everyone else. True. But we got Wyatt Hendrickson at 125 kilograms. So,
I had a teammate, I don't know how he did, but Nicholas Boykin,
I watched his first couple matches.
You watched him?
Yeah.
How'd he do? I know he does Greco.
Yeah, freak. I don't know his opponent, but...
He was a junior when I was a freshman in school.
Yeah. I also watched him at the NCAA. He didn't do too bad there.
Wait. He didn't do NCAAs.
He didn't?
Uh-huh.
What am I thinking of? I said NCAA. That's college.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm tripping.
Apparently, he was supposed to go to Ohio State and wrestle for them.
Was he?
Yeah, he committed to them and everything. Just.
I'm freaking thinking of Wyatt. He's in my brain and it hurts.
But I don't know how my old teammate did, but I know he wrestled in it.
He's not bad. He's a solid wrestler. For sure.
Yeah, I know he always loses to the same dudes. I can't remember their names, but they are huge for 97 kilograms, whoever they are. And Nick was a heavyweight in high school, and then he went down to 97 kilograms after.
I love seeing heavyweights drop.
Yeah, they get better.
Dude, a lot better too. Yeah. It looks really good, but
that's pretty much it for the U.S. Open.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, those were all the winners, so we'll see all of them competing at Final X.
Well, do all of them have somebody in that spot? Because some people don't. Like, they just have to win the U.S. Open, and then because nobody's there for Final X. But I don't know if any of those guys.
I haven't seen I just saw the Vito.
The only one I know is Jackson Vito. Yeah.
That's the only one I saw.
When is Final X?
I don't know.
We should try to get together and watch that. It'd be sick.
That'd be awesome to go over.
The only other combat news I have is Usman versus Buckley is the main event in UFC Atlanta, which probably should be fire. Early prediction?
I
think Buckley could sneak him.
Dude, I actually don't know. I don't know what I want to do because I want to say I'm a big Buckley fan, but I like him a lot, and I think he can.
I think speed, athleticism, and youth are going to be
in a
his
working
biggest,
body.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I think that's going to be his advantage.
So I'm wanting to say Buckley. I'm just like a big Kamaru fan, so it's like I don't want to go against him, but I'm probably going to put down Buckley.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, got any dates? You got anything lined up?
ADCC Atlanta.
Same.
I'll be there.
I have to prep for a midget, dude. I don't know how. I'm gonna be so sick if I lose, bro. The thing about it is
what's wrong with losing to?
And I probably shouldn't even be saying that word. I probably should say a different word. Little person.
What are they
the thing about it is, like, he's used to going against people that are built like me.
Just beat him.
I've never,
choke him out.
I plan on going out there and winning. Trust me. But
you gonna dog walk him?
I might put my hand out there like this. No, I'm just kidding. That's kind of messed up. But yeah, I'm gonna try my best. See what happens. Someone else signed up for the division too, so it's like a 27-year-old blue belt.
Okay.
So But the rules are like you get 2 guaranteed matches. So I'm probably gonna have to go against them still. That's gonna be fun. There's gonna be some content.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna have to make a vlog of that. But
I'm excited to see what you do.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We're like 13 days.
Yeah, today's the 27th.
13 days till I smoke the little guy.